2 words. Terrible. Oh, God. That was... Look, I didn't even remember the trailer.
I did.
I didn't remember it until you mentioned it, that you forgot it was coming out, and you're like, oh, you want to go see Wildlife? It was called Wildlife? I don't even remember the name of this. I could barely tell you a character's name in this, but I thought it was just going to be unmemorable. I didn't know it was going to be fucking intolerable.
Neither did I. I went into this thinking, like, this is probably going to be this year's Rio 2, in that it's not good, but whatever. And what this movie actually is like some kind of hybrid of Norm of the North type material mixed in with the kind of quality we get out of like that Puss in Boots movie that we did with Phelan.
I could tell that this was a movie that was made in Belgium and then dubbed into English later.
I could tell too.
Because
I couldn't tell from
that kind of style is what it is.
It's weird. Like, it's weird to look at. Like, the movie... Because I didn't know that from the trailer, but we saw that earlier.
Is it just me, or did the poster look nothing like the guy in the movie? It's like they made him look like a character from Tangled or something, like kind of befuddled, handsome guy, like, oh, these animals. I don't think that was the same face, even.
Well, it's also not the same title, because this movie was originally called Robinson Crusoe in 3D. I sort of understand why they changed it, because, like, fuck, this is about Robinson Crusoe.
I'm not familiar with the story of Robinson Crusoe. I mean, I know you're shipwrecked,
I'm sure
but I don't know. I'm not familiar outside of the fact he's shipwrecked. I don't know what happens in the book.
Well, now we do.
But, like... This barely fucking has anything to do with them. Like, if you love animals being extremely repetitious, you still won't like this. 'Cause they're not interesting in the slightest. And, like, if you see one scene in this movie and you like it, you're gonna see it 3 more times. Because they just keep doing the same things over and over again. Like, the cats attack 3 different times. We have to have 3 different showpieces of them attacking.
This movie has 3 climaxes.
Yeah, like, I kept thinking it was going to end, but it wasn't.
No, it still had a half hour left.
It kept going.
The animation in this movie is weird because if you were to look at a still shot of it, it would look fine. Stuff like the water looks really good in this movie.
Yeah.
It's not like... Okay, like writing and story quality, that's what I mean by comparing it to Norm of the North. In terms of its animation, Norm of the North through and through looked like something that was made to be released on DVD.
Yeah.
This isn't so much the level of something like Ratatouille or something like or Little Bee or shit like that. Like this, the characters have like a lot of texture to them, enough to where it kind of goes into Uncanny Valley territory quite a bit. But when they move, it's weirdly robotic. Like, it's almost like you can see the animation program right in front of your eyes. It's like the characters look fine, but they're very robotic in how they move. There's a part in the movie where Robinson Crusoe is getting a bunch of shit out of his barrel and stacking a bunch of stuff, and it looks like what in a Pixar movie might be like a fast motion sequence, but in this movie it's like normal, and it looks so odd. It looks like I sat on the remote and it's kind of going in 1.5 speed.
That's kind of the pacing of this movie. It feels tonally the pace of this feels like something that would be put on in the background at a preschool. Like, just there for background noise, not particularly engaging, or threatening for the kids, which is weird considering how much death is in this.
There is a lot of death in this movie. When this movie starts out, the movie's told in flashback, which, when the movie starts out, this ship of pirates find Robinson Crusoe hanging from a rope on the island by his waist. And so they get him and the parrot, they get him on their ship, and there's a cat that's on this ship, and like one of the pirates like kicks the cat onto like this rope, and then the cat falls. That's the last time we see that cat in this movie.
Very anti-cat movie.
This movie is blatant anti-cat propaganda.
Every cat is evil and murderous.
Yes.
Even from birth. Evil and murderous.
I don't know what a cat did to the writer of this movie. Like, some feral cat snuck into this guy's house and pissed on his face, and the writer of this movie never let that shit go. Because the cats in this movie are so evil that the villains are a group of feral cats, and it's like looking at a Roger Corman movie. Like, that's... Yeah, it's part of this movie is like a nature run amok movie, like fucking like, Strays, or...
It reminded me of Strays, but it wasn't funny like Strays.
No.
Because Strays is a horror movie, and it's funny because that's the concept they went with, though there is some creepy parts to it. So, you know, they did the best they could with what they had, but when you're gonna do like an animated movie like this, you can do whatever you want with it. You can make whatever animal you want the villain. You can make anything.
Feral cats.
Yeah, like there could be any villain in this. And when we saw the cats on the ship, I didn't know they were setting up the villains.
No.
And then when they show up on the island, I leaned over to you and I was like, "Are you kidding me with this? That's what they're going with?"
Yeah, and so these cats just have a grudge against Robinson Crusoe and all of the animals on this island. They want them fucking dead. Like, they want to murder, like, they're using their claws like they're Freddy Krueger. And at one point, because it's a male cat and a female cat, and at one point the female cat just suddenly goes like, "We will soon have a family to feed."
Well, how many? Because they were on Cursed Island. On Cursed Island, which was just kind of over there.
Yeah.
And had a bunch of bugs on it. But for some reason, them and their 10,000 kittens, I don't know how she had this many kittens, they're surviving on these bugs for how many months? Because for a cat to get that big, it'd be at least 4 months, let's say. Like, how long are they surviving there?
It has to be quite a while. I mean, it seems like this movie is oddly taking place over a long period of time, judging by his hair throughout the film and the shit he builds.
I love that it takes him at least 4 months to actually grow any hair. He doesn't have any stubble for a long time, though clearly, like, weeks have passed since he landed.
I like when they're on the pirate ship at the beginning of the movie, what sets up the whole story, because it's being told by the parrot. The parrot who says to these two mice on the ship, the parrot says to him, "You want to know the real story of Robinson Crusoe? All right, sit back. I'm about to tell you."
Turns out it's not that interesting.
Yeah, which is why him saying, here's what he should have said, like, "You want to know the real story of Robinson Crusoe? I'm not going to tell it to you. So here's a story about me." Because the parrot's the main character in this movie.
Here's a story about a bunch of fucking boring animals. And they're going to be repeating the same thing over and over again. It reminded me of that Hunchback one that Phelan reviewed. The one with the talking instruments, where all they did was just go like, "These stairs are really big. Oh, I can't go up these stairs. Yeah, this is a long staircase." And they just repeat the same things meaninglessly. It was like that. Like, they'd be like, "Oh, I'm scared of the human. I don't know what to do. Let's not go over there. Oh, that's right. He's pretty scary." Cue 6 scenes later. Just move on.
None of it was even consistent either, because they go up to the human to bring him fruit as a peace offering, and he has the musket pointed at them. They're not scared of that, but when he puts it down on the ground, suddenly that's what scares them, as if they didn't realize 2 seconds prior he was holding it and pointing it at them. And when the animals talk, because it's one of those movies where the animals talk to each other, but when they're around the human can't actually hear them talk. So, for reasons, And so
That parrot could use human language to imitate people, to say anything. He doesn't fucking talk to Caruso once.
oh,
He
by the
coulda
way,
helped him out.
that fucking parrot, man. Like, that parrot going like, oh yeah, by the way, I can mimic people too. Because I'm a parrot, you see. That, when the parrot was just going, "Argh," I thought he was more endearing than when he could talk.
Yeah,
because
honestly, yeah.
unfortunately, they give him a voice of a smart-ass teenager. To where he says, like, the human named me Tuesday. I guess that's better than Monday, because no one likes Mondays.
Thanks, Garfield.
Oh,
Thanks.
God, I want to punch him. Like, it's just that voice through it. That, okay, well, all right, guys, I don't know.
You know, they didn't... It's not that the voice actors were bad in it, but they didn't have anyone with any real charisma. Like, no one really stood out. Didn't recognize any of the names.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, you don't have to hire a bunch of, like, celebrities to do voices, you know, like... But you just need to have someone who is a competent and endearing voice actor, and I didn't really... There's nothing about them.
You could kind of tell in some aspects, like, who they would have gotten if they could.
Yeah.
Because that pig was like...
It would have been Sassy Black Lady.
It would have been like Wanda Sykes.
Yeah.
And if this person was still alive, that female cat absolutely would have been Eartha Kitt.
Yeah.
And actually, that would have actually saved the movie,
He was
honestly.
doing an Eartha Kitt thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, when I realized that this movie was going to be a really long sit, is when the animals are taking shelter from the storm at the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a running joke about a pineapple,
Mm-hmm.
which is never funny at any point.
We have a pineapple hangover.
Yeah. What the fuck? They're carrying this pineapple, and then I say running gag, I just mean for that scene only, as if that meant anything. And they're like, oh, we have this pineapple, and they're going up a mountain, and the parrot drops the pineapple, and it rolls along the group of animals, and the stupid fucking goat falls on the pineapple, slips off, and is hanging onto the cliff's edge, or onto like a branch. And then there is an extended rescue sequence because of a pineapple mishap
Yeah.
that goes on just short of forever. And I was sitting there thinking, what am I even watching? I'm watching a bunch
I
of
almost
dumb
leaned over to
animals
you
that
and said the
slipped
same
on a pineapple.
thing. And not to mention the fact that there's only... I don't know where these animals came from.
Yeah.
There's only one of each. There's one goat, there's one pig, there's one... It was an iguana that...
Is a chameleon.
A chameleon. Oh, yeah, because
he would like blend in sometimes.
because he's the predator.
Is that how chameleons work? I guess.
Exactly, yeah. There's only one of each, so that's kind of interesting right there.
Yeah, did they just spawn out of nowhere, or did
Yeah.
all of their families get sent to Curse Island?
It's a prison island for animals. You're annoying. You go live over there. All right. Well, I'm gonna go live with my friends now. Bye. Fucking parrot. I knew this movie would be a long sit early on for a couple of reasons. One, this is an ugly film to look at. It is always overcast, like raining, foggy.
It's not even that kind of dreary. It's just it's there's no life to it.
No. It, like I said, like it's
'Cause if
not.
it was spooky looking, maybe it would be something.
Well, yeah, if it's meant to be dark and scary or something like that, yeah, totally. Like if it's like Kubo and the Two Strings or Paranorman or
Yeah,
something
yeah.
like that. This isn't that. This is like if, this is like if Rio 2, if they wanted it to look as dreary as an episode of The Killing, for reasons.
But it's dreary looking, but then they downplay a lot of the death. Like, okay, when his ship crashes, his entire crew perishes.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't believe everyone's gone. It's all the acknowledgement. He didn't care. He was on that ship for months with them, okay? And he did not care.
It also, one of several climaxes this film has, when they're just chucking cats left and right.
They're all drowning.
Yeah, I'm like, it is not showing them land.
It's a Milo notice thing.
Yeah. Or like the stupid actuallys we got on 9 Lives.
They confirmed he was dead in the movie.
Oh, I forgot. I
Okay,
forgot that since cats can survive like 20 or so stories, that means they can survive falling off the world's largest skyscraper.
The best one was when they blew up the dog.
Yes.
The cats blow up the dog after one of the many climaxes, and the dog is pinned, and they set the place on fire.
And the dog's like a schnauzer, I think.
He's a Scottish something? Maybe he's a schnauzer, but he has a Scottish voice.
Yeah. He talks like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets pinned down, and the bird's like, "Oh, I'm going to save you," but there's like gunpowder or whatever that's lit up, and then it blows up, and you go dead, and then we see him like Evil Dead 2 cross.
Yeah.
And then like I was like, "What? Oh, I guess he really died."
That dog's not surviving that.
I thought they were gonna pull oh, he's dead, but then he comes out of the rubble. But no, dog's dead.
I honestly figured he was dead because I knew they killed that cat earlier, and there's no way that dog is surviving that explosion. And so Robinson Crusoe puts a cross on there with the dog's burnt to a crisp collar around it. This happens. And
those were the funniest parts in the movie. There was the theater was completely empty until like the last second, and then like a family or two came in, and I didn't hear anything from them. The only thing that they laughed at was there's like a butt joke with the pig.
With the pig, because the pig's fat and eats a lot, so that's the only joke you're getting out of that character.
Everyone only has one joke.
Oh, the goat is old. The goat is old, and he can't see very well because he's old. That's that joke. And the parrot...
The hedgehog and I don't know if it's called a pangolin or something. I don't know. The other thing with like a little tail. They're kind of similar. They have the same character. They don't do anything. They're superfluous. The little bluebird is suspicious and kind of aloof. I guess that's her thing.
Yeah, she's jealous. So she wants Robinson Crusoe to leave, but then when she realizes he's made this light fixture to try to signal other boats, she's like, I don't want more humans here, so she destroys it. Make up your fucking mind. You want this guy to leave or fucking don't you?
Not that it matters by the end.
Oh, well, I'll get to that in a second. This is the kind of movie where early on, I knew what kind of movie it was going to be because I zoned out so frequently in this movie.
Same here.
And every time...
We were both checking our phones a lot.
Yeah, and every time I would zone out or check my phone, something new would be happening on screen. There's pirates fighting, they're trying to survive during a storm, I'm checked out, I look back up, goat is almost about to fall off the cliff, and the chameleon saves him with his tongue.
I can't believe that you checked out during the iconic pineapple scene.
Kinda, a little, I was like, wow, there is a lot of shit going on here. At one point they're talking about going on a water slide, I check out, something's on fire, and the cats are going down the fucking water slide.
Oh, I was checking out during that because it just was constant, and it makes sense to know that this was in 3D.
Actually, yeah.
During those scenes, I can see that, but it's like if you were watching, that segment was an attraction that you would see somewhere, like the water slide attraction.
Yeah.
That goes on for way too long. If you just snipped that out, that would be the attraction there.
Only you, audience, can help E.T. get back home. Me?
Huh?
And that was the first climax of this film, because I thought this movie was about over with.
I thought that was the ending, too. I thought they were just chucking cats off there, and they were just going to die. But then the cats, who were just as repetitious. They would constantly just like, the cats are thrown into the water and they'll go, we'll get our revenge. And then they're tossed away again. We'll get our revenge. They're tossed away again. And they still, by the fucking end, they're still showing up again.
The cats are still showing up again. I don't know how many of them are actually dying or not. And so when I know that eventually Robinson Crusoe is going to be passed out with a rope around his waist, because that's when it first shows him before it flashes back. So he ends during this first climax, he is on a rope. It looks like that is about to happen. And then when it doesn't, I was like, fuck off. Just fucking end, you fucking movie.
You know what I noticed through most of it was you jiggling your leg, waiting, and sighing.
Yeah, I was having none of this. My fucking leg was restless as shit, going back and forth. There's stupid things with the cats, like, these bugs are disgusting. Try the red ones. They taste like chicken. Ah!
At one point, I don't even remember what joke this was to, but you were like, bushwhacked. And
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not even a bushwhacked. Because it's not, they're not any sort of jokes at all, really. Like, it's just saying something kind of lightheartedly and then fade away.
Wow, the human's taking off his skin. I've never seen that before. Who does that?
I appreciated there appeared to be no pissing or farting jokes.
No.
There's no bodily fluid. Maybe he threw up over the side at the beginning, but
Oh, he was seasick at the beginning
Yeah.
of it.
but like at least there were no jokes. But at least it
No.
didn't feel like the stupid manufactured kids movie jokes, like the butt joke maybe, but which is probably why the kids laughed at it. But
Yeah.
there wasn't that, mostly because there was nothing to the movie.
The animals in this movie are significantly dumber when they're not talking. When the animals are talking, they're having, not that they're smart, but they're having conversations with each other and like, I don't know if we should trust this human. Well, like, I don't know, he could bring us food or something, whatever. But then when they're around Robinson Crusoe and they can't talk, they are constantly fucking his shit up. Constantly. And he's like, oh, that pig destroyed my treehouse again. And he's trying to build a nest in a tree for himself, and the animals are constantly fucking it up by like chasing food or rubbing their fat ass against it, knocking it down, and he's
This is one of those movies I really wish Phelan was here.
yeah.
Because it would have made it such a better experience.
Oh,
to be
especially
watching this.
check out the crab. His name's Krabby. I'll have you know though, he actually has a really good personality.
What did that have to do with anything?
Nothing. I didn't think he was called Krabby because he was angry. I thought he was called Krabby because he's a crab.
But you know, the interesting thing is they can fish in this movie because fish don't matter. All other animals, you know, they can talk and they have sentience, but the fish, you can hunt the hell out of them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Fuck
They're not
them.
part of this island.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
The character design I liked the most, honestly, was the cats.
Honestly, same here.
I liked
they were
them better than anyone because they were the only ones with any personality.
they were pretty consistent in their design. Like there's a part where the cat gets shot at and a bullet just goes right through.
I liked their scruffy designs.
Yeah, the bullet like makes this cut across the cat's head and it stays there through the movie, like, and it looks like it's infected and shit.
Yeah, well,
Like-
and one of them gets his ear blown off, so he's got a chunk out of it.
Yeah.
But that was interesting. That was texture and character.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just flat.
Yeah, flat with their robotic movements, and then when after 2 or 3 more climaxes of these cats coming back to fuck their shit up again, because Lord knows when this fucking movie's gonna end, and then the pirates have them, so then they have to have this climax with the pirates, because the pirates aren't gonna take him back to England, and they want...
It wasn't much of one, was it?
Not really,
With
like...
the pirates, it was just sort of like an oh, by the way.
Yeah, well...
Because the stuff with the cats, it went on forever, but it was like exciting and moved around a lot, and there was energy to it. But like the pirates, it's just sort of like, hey, you should try to steal our boat, and the parrot's like, get back over here, I'm the captain.
Yeah. It's time to go back home, Robinson. And then the movie apparently runs out of money.
Yeah, it just seemed like they just stopped the movie.
Yeah, this movie, for as many climaxes as it has, it just ends. Like, it conceivably could have logically ended at any of its other climaxes, but the one that it went with is jarring.
It reminded me of, there was a joke on Freakazoid where they do an Island of Dr. Moreau parody. And he's on the plane with all the villains, and he spends about half the episode on there, and then he goes there and he meets up with the Island of the Dr. Moreau character. And he's just like, ha ha ha, see what I've got in store. He's like, oh no, there's only like 10 minutes left. He's like, well, if you hadn't wasted so much time on the plane.
Yeah.
And it was like that. If you hadn't wasted so much time on this other bullshit, you could have had something happen.
With the pirates, the cats, the goddamn animals fucking his shit up. Like, the first thing he should have built is a gate to keep the animals out, because they're constantly destroying his house. And so when it does end, it ends with him escaping the pirates and sailing back to the island. Credits!
Gilligan never escaped the island.
It was like, there was a Simpsons episode that was a parody of, like, Lord of the Flies, and then at the end they had a joke. They don't make it off the island at the end, and they have a joke, like, there's narration, it's like, oh, let's say they were all rescued by Mo, I guess, or something like that. It's like that, but genuine, not parody or satire. They go back to the island, the credits are showing, and then it's just still shots.
It seems like they took storyboards from what the rest of the movie would have been, and then added them to the end. Like, they have, like, oh, by the way, then a lady pirate shows up on the island, and then, by the way, a girl bird shows up, because you don't want to think that he doesn't get in a heterosexual fucking relationship by the end.
And then a hot parrot showed up. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, we lived like kings. It's showing still shots of them, like, he's like eating like fruit, and then he's saying like, we had to rebuild the treehouse with some minor altercations. It looked the fucking same.
I think it was supposed to be like a little house add-on for the parrot, but you know, the blue bird had a fucking point. It's like, we're supposed to live in the wild. They're animals. Who cares if they live in his treehouse? Let him have his treehouse. You live out in the jungle where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, and they already have food, so I don't know why Robinson Crusoe kept giving them all his biscuits.
That was a good joke. He wanted to give them biscuits.
Yeah, like, these humans sure do like their biscuits. And then he taught us this fun new game called planting seeds and watching fruit grow. At least it wasn't biscuits.
They didn't even like the biscuits. What a fucking bunch of assholes.
Fuck this movie. God, I don't know where this movie came from. I don't know why this movie is in theaters. Yeah, you're right. Technically, I do know where it came from.
Belgium, just make chocolate. It's what you're good at. Don't send us any more animated movies.
Oh, with its 1,000 production companies in front of it.
Yeah, they did like 6,000 different intros for the production company, and then it went to the opening credits where they repeated them again.
Yeah. I liked the one that you could tell, like, this isn't a theatrical company, because a lot of it was like Studio Canal and things that I've seen in front of movies in the theater before. There was one that I don't think I've seen in front of anything before, but it was like, oh, this is the low budget company, because it is like what you would see in front of like fucking little cars.
Yeah, it reminded me of like Puss in Boots and other kind of low budget fare. For a low budget thing, like, if this was straight to DVD, I would think this was a decent job. I wouldn't think it's a good movie. I wouldn't want to watch it. But for a straight to DVD thing, it's okay. But for a theatrical thing, it's just not up to snuff.
No.
It's not good enough.
No, it looks jarring, like I said, but it's a weird kind of jarring, because, like, if you freeze frame a lot of it, the texture is there. There's a lot of good design to some of it.
Just the movement's
but,
not there.
Yeah, and some of them even had that like black hole mouth, like that you'd see in like Ratatouille. Like, just like, there's nothing there. There's nothing inside of there except dead space.
This one, it baffles me too why it's in the theater, because...
Me too.
Because Norm of the North at least had names behind it to sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So did, like, whatever that Wizard of Oz one, Legends of Oz.
Oh, yeah.
Even though that was a big scheme, it had names in it. It had like a soundtrack. It had some selling points. This has no names. No, the animation isn't good enough. The story's not good. The trailer isn't even that memorable. So I don't know any sort of selling point that this had to get into theaters nationally.
I don't know, other than the fact that I think the movie has already made its money back overseas, so
I guess.
Why not pick up some extra dollars here and like basically have it kind of like Norm of the North, where it's the theatrical run is basically just an advertisement to get it on DVD.
I can't see this staying too long though, especially considering this was a Friday night and there was barely anyone there.
Norm of the North certainly didn't stick around long. Yeah, there was nobody else there at a 5 o'clock showing on Friday night. I can't imagine why they didn't pre-screen this last night.
There was no dance sequence though.
That's true. There was
no soundtrack, which again I don't know what the selling point was.
Because you have to outsource you have to get your animation movies from another country for there not to be the gimmicky ass fucking musical number at the end of the film, regardless if your movie's a musical or not.
Because, I mean, like, that's one of the things that we complain about a lot in these dumb kids movies, is when when it's so manufactured, when you can tell what the producers said to include by the numbers, what they want. And I appreciate that wasn't there.
No.
But you need to have more to it.
This movie, honestly, probably could have used that.
Honestly, yeah. I was missing Norm of the North. I was like, Norm of the North is like golden compared to this.
Fuck yeah. Like, this movie could have used an ending where they get back to the island and like, well, we're home now. Hit it. Staying alive, staying alive.
Staying alive. Start singing Jungle Boy.
Yeah. Oh, Tarzan Boy.
Oh, Tarzan Boy.
Yeah.
Helps when I get the name right.
I knew what you meant. This movie,
that's their off-brand version.
She is Jungle Boy.
Man, what a soul-sucking movie this was.
This was I wanted
How
to do.
How does it compare to like Ratchet and Clank? Because that was something you checked out with a lot. What you told me.
I think I checked out way more in Ratchet and Clank. I think Ratchet and Clank was maybe in terms of its voice work, because it was the voice actors from the game. I think so anyway. That was good. That part of it was good. I might have laughed a couple more times in Ratchet and Clank.
I didn't laugh at anything in this intentionally.
Me neither. I think... Wow, that's rough. I think I was far more checked out. I think I was far more checked out in Ratchet and Clank, but because there were moments that I kept unchecking out in this, it was making me more pissed at this movie. I think I might have been more pissed at this movie than Ratchet and Clank. That's tough. I don't know what I would rather do. This one, I think you could, if you were sitting around watching it in a group of people, say we're the only ones in there, I think you could probably joke at this movie a little bit more than you could Ratchet and Clank, but I don't suggest doing that. Like, I don't suggest, this isn't Nine Lives.
This is no nut job.
No, exactly. This is not like something or Norm of the North, where you can get a copy of that shit and fucking just snark your asses off watching it. This, you can, but don't. There's much better shit you can do that with. This movie is just a fucking dead zone. Like, I don't recommend this shit in the fucking slightest.
Yeah, same here. It barely felt like a movie, but it also felt like it wouldn't end at any point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It kept going during the credits.
I can't name a single feature of this that I would recommend to people.
No.
Like, I mean, there was no entertainment value in this.
This was not entertaining.
Not even for kids. Like, if you want to put it on as like a background thing, maybe.
Sure. Like, if your kid's young enough to laugh at everything.
If a kid's very young, they probably, and like maybe don't, like they're barely starting to speak kind of young. Maybe, like, the images and things on the screen.
Even then, it's like, still put on something good at least. Like, just because you can serve shit at this restaurant doesn't mean you have to.
Worst case scenario, I guess. That's when you would show it to your kids.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The wild life. Well, I am excited for... I got When the Bow Breaks in like a half hour. So I'm legit... I'm guessing it'll probably be bad, but I'm excited. I'm super excited.
It couldn't be any worse than this.
Oh, this movie's When the Bow Breaks is already better than this movie. I haven't even seen When the Bow Breaks yet. God. Any other final words on this?
No, I think we got it covered. Don't see this.
Fuck, this movie can fuck off. See it.